Hey, dreamers, welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Wey. I'm a small business coach, growth strategist, and believer that your dream life starts the moment you lead like you mean it. This podcast is all about leadership, fulfillment, and growth, the three pillars that help you build not just a business that thrives, but a life that feels good while you do it. Today, we're talking about a big one, a question I've wrestled with myself, and one that comes up with almost every entrepreneur I coach. Is success without sacrifice actually possible? Can you build a thriving business and have time for your family, your health, your happiness? Can you scale without losing yourself in the process? And can you have both growth and peace? The answer, in my experience, is yes, but it requires redefining what success looks like and building it in alignment with your values, your energy, and your vision. So today I'm going to share what I found along my own journey and through coaching hundreds of small business owners about how to create success without sacrifice. And before we dive in, just a quick reminder, you can join the LFG Business Academy on School for free and check out my mini leadership series, a free training that will help you strengthen your mindset, your systems, and your leadership so that you can grow sustainably. And the link is in the show notes. So let's get into this. I want to start with redefining success. And what I have found is that most people chase someone else's version of success. They're climbing a ladder only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. When you define success based on only external results, money, status, followers, you end up sacrificing the very things that make life meaningful: your health, your relationships, your joy. The truth is that success that costs you your peace isn't success. It's survival. So to create true success without sacrifice, you have to redefine it for yourself. For me, that means freedom, fulfillment, and impact. And that might look different for you. But it really, to me, means doing the work that matters, but not at the expense of my life. So when you get really clear on your definition of success, every decision becomes easier because you measure it against what truly matters. So I encourage you that whatever chapter of life you're in right now in your business is to take a step back and take a look at the different departments of your life, your different values, and take a minute to redefine what does success really mean to you at this stage or this chapter of your life. Because energy is your real currency. And if success comes at the cost of your energy, it's not sustainable. And I used to believe that burnout was just part of the game. And sometimes, entrepreneurs have to go through those burnouts to be able to pivot, to get clear on what success means. I know I definitely had to go through those phases. But what I've learned is that if we're mindful of our energy management, that really is the key to long-term success. Because when your energy is drained, your creativity, your patience, and leadership, they all suffer. So you start reacting instead of leading. So I tell my clients all the time, your business will mirror your energy. So if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and running on fumes, your business will feel a lot more chaotic. But when you do lead from a place of rest, clarity, alignment, everything flows a lot differently. So your energy is such a big part of your strategy. So as you're building, protect it like the asset it really, really is. And as we implement boundaries also allow us to create balance. And when we get clear on what success means, we can implement boundaries that will create that balance before we hit burnout or before we feel stretched in the wrong direction. But balance doesn't happen by accident. It is really created by design, and that is through boundaries. So I've learned that saying yes to everything is a fast track to resentment and burnout. And this is a common thing I see in businesses, especially with leaders, is we feel sort of that obligation to say yes because we know that we want to do our best, we want to show up. And while the intentions are good, what happens in the long run is that we're not robots and we will hit that burnout, and then we could even get a little bit more resentful. So if we really, really want to create solid success that's long lasting without sacrifice, we have to get comfortable saying no, even to good opportunities. Boundaries aren't about restriction, they're about protection. And so they protect your time, your focus, your mental health, and your priorities. So when you have those clear boundaries, you create space for what actually matters. And that space, that is where fulfillment is going to live. So creating a schedule that makes you feel good inside and outside of the business, allows you to really focus on those key pillars to make the business grow, will allow you to see exponential growth because we're focusing on what matters the most, but also creating space and boundaries to allow ourselves to reset and to feel fulfilled in that off time. Now, fulfillment, I have learned, comes from alignment, not achievement. Now, one of the biggest lessons that I've definitely learned is that fulfillment doesn't always just come from achieving more. It comes from living in alignment. So, alignment means your values, actions, and priorities are working in harmony. You're not chasing external validation, and you're operating from your internal compass. So when your business aligns with who you are and what you value, it energizes you instead of depleting you. So that's the difference between waking up excited and waking up exhausted. So if you're chasing goals that no longer feel right, it might just be time to pause, not to quit, but just to realign. Is what used to be important for you, maybe even a few months or years ago, might look very different now. I know that every chapter in my life that I've been in, that has definitely shifted for me. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? What we value at different stages of our life is naturally going to change for a lot of reasons. But if we're not in alignment with that, that can feel, it can feel not very overly fulfilling. And fulfillment is, I believe, something that's really, really key. It's just one of the core pillars that I'm always working with clients on. Now, leadership, when we take a step back, really is about empowerment. It's not about exhaustion. So for a long time, I thought leadership meant carrying it all, doing it all. But I've learned that true leadership isn't about control, it's about empowerment. So when you lead from ego, you feel pressure to be the smartest, the hardest, the best. But when you lead from purpose, you focus on developing others. So delegation is not a weakness, it's a leadership skill. So empowering your team to take ownership not only frees up your time, but it builds trust, confidence, and culture. So success without sacrifice starts with the intention of leading smarter, not harder. And when we pivot into talking about systems, I love this one the best, I think, out of all of them about success, because I have found that systems, especially for myself, and I've seen this with working with hundreds of clients, is that when we create systems, that's going to give us more freedom. And so I love this as a huge part of creating success, because I've shared this before in other episodes, is that our business will always rise and fall to the level of our systems. And this is something that really every entrepreneur needs to know, is that systems don't limit freedom, they create it. And I've mentioned that point many times in different episodes, because I've learned that when I started building systems in my business, whether that's automation, it's templates, it's SOPs, standard procedures, workflows, I stopped working in chaos and started working more on strategy. So systems give you consistency, scalability, and that peace of mind. So they take pressure off of your plate and they allow you to focus on what you do best. And if you're constantly reinventing the wheel, you're not growing, you're surviving. So freedom in business comes from having that structure. So although it might feel like we are limited or we're a little bit stuck by having these systems, it's actually the opposite. So it does take some time to take a step back to create them. And I know this is something that a lot of business owners in the moment don't love to do, but when they've worked on it and they've created that, it changes so much for them in their business, because then it allows them to delegate, and it just allows that simplicity, and it allows that consistency. No matter who's doing that particular task, it is getting done at the most efficient, with the most efficient process. And the myth of having it all, right? I want to talk about this honestly, because success without sacrifice doesn't mean you'll have perfect balance every day. Some seasons will demand more from you than others. And what I've found is that you can have it, just not sometimes all at one time. So the key is being fully present where you are. So when you're with your family, be there. When you're working, give it your focus. And when you're resting, actually rest. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do what matters most right now. And when we make a point of growing with grace, I found that the healthiest kind of growth is the kind that matches your pace and your purpose. So that's a cultural obsession with speed, scaling faster, hitting big milestones, achieving overnight success. And I have seen so many entrepreneurs grow really fast and then crumble because their foundation couldn't hold it. So graceful growth means expanding at a rate your life can sustain. It's not about evolution, okay? Or it's more focused on evolution, not the exhaustion. And when you grow with grace, guess what also happens? Your confidence is going to grow with that. And that is also a huge thing with stability and sustainability with businesses in long-term growth is that confidence that we have what it takes and that no matter what happens in our business, we have the ability to grow and scale it to that next level. And we can't pour from an empty cup. And I know that's sort of cliche, but if you're constantly giving without receiving, whether it's to clients, your team, or your family, you will eventually hit a wall. And I've learned that rest, hobbies, and joy aren't luxuries. They are leadership tools. It is so empowering to know that when you are resting and you're doing things that bring you joy is part of your successful journey as a leader. Because when you take time to rest and fill your cup doing things that you love, you show up as a better leader. You show up as a better parent, a better creator, a better human. So taking care of yourself isn't selfish at all. It is part of the strategy to that success long term. And reminder that your business is going to continue to grow as you do. So at the heart of everything that I teach, this truth remains, is your business cannot outgrow you. Every level of business growth requires a new level of personal growth. The more grounded, self-aware, and fulfilled that you become, the more you can handle and the less you have to sacrifice. So if you want to build sustainable success, it really starts with you because when you grow, everything else rises with you. So is success about without sacrificing everything really, really possible? Absolutely. Hey, but only when you're willing to redefine what success means for you, protect your energy, build the right systems, and grow from a place of alignment instead of pressure. So the people that I've seen thrive long term aren't the ones who hustle the hardest. They're the ones who know who they are, what they value, and where they're going. So they dream big, they lead bravely, and they live fully. And that's what I want for you. So if today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to invite you to join the LFG Business Academy on School. It's completely free. Inside, you will find training, templates, and conversations designed to help you build smarter, lead stronger, and grow sustainably. You'll also get access to my mini leadership series, a free video course where I teach the framework that I used to build my business and where I use the framework that I teach business owners to scale with purpose and balance. The link is in the show notes, so come join us and start building success that feels really, really good. So thank you so much for tuning in today. If this episode spoke to you, you can share with a friend who needs to hear that success doesn't have to come at the expense of peace. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tag me on Instagram at Shayla Wey Coaching. I would love to hear what stood out to you the most. As always, remember, because your dream life starts with the way you lead, the way you live, and the way you grow. I'll see you next time on your Dream Coach podcast.